Should we just do the thing where we're in the middle of a conversation?
Yeah, of course.
How's your day?
No, but it has to be like a good conversation. Not like the weather. How was your day? Because it's also
But
like
I do want to talk
bright
about
in the morning.
Oh, it is the morning. It is weird to start in the morning.
Yeah,
this is our first time doing in the morning, I think.
I wouldn't know. No. Remember we did that one with Yao, was it?
Was that in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
That was like more in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, you were like not down to come, and then you were like, I made it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was
I
funny.
forced you. Yeah.
I guess I'm not so much of a morning person.
Yeah.
I feel like I could be if I got my schedule on track, you know?
I've been trying for the last 2 years to be a morning person, and it's not been panning out.
Yeah.
I want to be the person who wakes up at 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Makes their bed, like, because I don't make my bed usually, and it goes for a morning walk.
You don't make your bed in the morning?
I try to, but it's really hard for me.
Wow, that's crazy. Because remember when we were in Florida together?
Yeah.
Did you make your bed in Florida?
No, you would make your bed usually, no?
I made your bed?
I remember one time you went in there and like cleaned my whole room, I think.
Oh my God.
And I was like, don't do that.
Really? Oh, you didn't like it?
I don't know why. It felt weird to me. It felt like
an invasion of your privacy.
I don't know. It felt
That's
like, oh, you're dirty. Like, let me clean this room. You know what I'm saying? That's
not at all.
Like.
Not at all.
But no, I know. But yeah, it's hard for me to make my bed for some reason. But
that's whack.
I should try that.
Jordan Peterson says you should.
Yeah, you're right. Well, if Jordan Peterson says
it, then you do it. He says you act like a lobster. You act like a lobster.
I act like a lobster?
Well, you're reading his book. Did you read like the first chapter?
I don't remember.
Yeah. He says...
No, I remember him talking about lobsters, but he says if you don't make your bed, you act like a lobster. I'm so confused.
Yeah, let's run with that.
Oh, okay.
I think he talks about lobsters and like a hierarchy and how they have like the same evolutionary makeup as us and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not related to the bed makeup.
Right.
But I just...
No, I do remember him saying about like... take care of your house first and then you can go out into the world. For sure. I should make my bed every morning.
No, I'm like lecturing you to make your bed. It's because I don't make my bed every morning. Like
I know. I don't know what the blockage is. I really don't know what the mental blockage is of like, I'm up like it, and it also takes 2 seconds. Throw your blanket over, make it smooth. But
I know.
It takes like literally 2 minutes.
I feel like I think it sets your day off right, you know?
Sets your day off right. Especially like if I woke up these days, I'm waking up and going straight to like making a coffee and leaving the house. Like I would like some time to like also I'm trying to, so we spoke. Okay. Should we explain what happened to our last podcast?
We recorded a whole entire episode and it was a beautiful episode. We were really articulate. We were really on top of our game.
We were like
We were like breathing fire.
Wisdom.
Like, it was that episode would have gotten us probably close to like Call Her Daddy level. I would say.
No, we would have gotten like 100,000 subscribers.
I think so.
Got signed to Barstool Sports. That's my dream, to get signed to Barstool Sports.
Oh, for sure.
That would be
We're too niche.
First of all, like our niche is religious girls talking about stuff. You know how many podcasts out there are talking about pop culture and they're just two girls talking about pop culture. You know what I'm saying?
Call Her Daddy?
No, not Call Her Daddy, but they have Barstool Sports. I listen to them. They're really funny, but they just talk about pop culture. What's going on? They're two Italian girls.
Oh, okay.
Like whatever. Nice. We're religious girls with a little bit of like that like view on life.
With a little view on life.
I think the fact that we grew up like a little religious, we learned so many deep concepts at such a young age. You know, and okay, you know, obviously, some people who are like. A lot of times in religion, you'll find those people who want to control you and they use like these deep stuff to like try to be like, this is why you should do this and that. And you should not have a second piercing and you should, you know, wear whatever, very, very like restrictive. But I do think that we learned a lot of deep stuff in our life. I do think it makes us like, it helped us become like really deep people. Obviously there's a personality to it. And there's also a lot of people in this community who are not deep at all, which is okay, which is totally okay. Mm-hmm. But we definitely learned like certain things as young people that are just like deeper concepts, which is cool. But anyways, what was I saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be your dream.
That would be so awesome. The office is like right next to the Chabad house. It's literally like a few blocks away. Should I just go there and like walk in?
Well, first of all, we should
pitch our case. We should just like come with our whole like podcast equipment set up and just be like, start a podcast there and see if anyone catches us.
Oh, we didn't know we were. This is Barstool. What?
What? I thought this was just a free studio.
Yeah. Oh, you want to sign us? Wait. What?
I thought. Okay, we'll
That's
take
great.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll think about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. We'll talk about it. Get back to you.
Yeah. You know, in Oppenheimer, when like he goes to him to see if like he wants to be on the Manhattan Project, and he's like, he's like, how do you know if you have the job or something? He's like, I'm still thinking about it. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, kind of. No.
Okay. You like tuned out of the whole movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
We talked about, so we lost the recording of the episode, but we talked about this last time about what you thought of Oppenheimer.
Okay. Yeah, well then I can rehash. I didn't like it. I mean, I guess
it sucked.
It kind of sucked. It was not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, that's for sure. I think he's done a lot better movies, you know, Dunkirk, for instance. But Barbie, not that you have to compare them, but you kind of have to because they're both in the zeitgeist at the same exact time. Barbie just
there's just
was so
such
much
incredibly
better.
Different movies.
I know, and Barbie's more like my speed, I would say.
Really, like I would
creative,
so
eclectic,
think that
different, weird, funny, sarcastic, nuanced.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would for sure thought that like Oppenheimer is more your movie. I nobody asked, but I loved Oppenheimer.
Nobody cared.
Like nobody
but
literally asked me. But I literally watched it. I went to the movies twice to watch it. Tell me why you loved it.
Tell me why you loved it.
I just thought it was very thought provoking. Brought out that like those thoughts of like, you know, the background story of because we learn about the atomic bomb, and obviously like as kids, but like 8th grade, whatever, you're just like, oh, they dropped it on the Japanese,
deep things we learned as kids.
Yeah. Well, when we learned history, and it just flies by. Like, oh yeah, they just dropped this bomb on people. Well, it makes sense. It was part of the war, whatever. And then you see this movie, and it like really poses the moral question of it, and also going behind like Oppenheimer's like mind and how he worked, and just everything like leading up in his life. I don't know. It's just. It was really cool to me.
Oh, now I'm actually recalling what I was saying. Yeah, no, for sure. I hear that. But I also didn't really think it did a good job of pulling us into the brain of what went on. It was more just conversations between people who worked on the Manhattan Project. And so it was just a little boring to me. It was very exposition heavy, and it just felt like there wasn't almost like a lot of action. It just felt like I was watching a lot of talking, basically just talking. And Christopher Nolan also directed, I don't know if he wrote as well, Interstellar, which included a lot more of the, oh my god. Wait, Rivka, you would love it.
I should watch it.
No, let's watch it together.
Okay.
It's a long movie, and it's pretty, it's heavy.
Who's the actors in it?
Jessica, I think her name's Jessica Chastain.
Okay.
She's Orange Hair, Zero Dark 30.
I mean, her name sounds familiar.
Okay. Matthew McConaughey is the star. Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey.
He's so good in it.
Did you see his like interview with Joe Rogan? It was like such a random crossover.
He's surprisingly like a really insightful.
Yeah, to the point where like sometimes it's annoying.
Oh.
Like everything becomes like well, you know, I was thinking about it. Yeah. But no, he seems cool.
Yeah, he does. He seems like a really worn person.
Yeah. You know? Did you see this girl, Bobbi Althoff? She's like she literally like came out of nowhere, and suddenly she's interviewing Drake and like Mark Cuban.
Oh,
Did you see that?
Her. Like she has this really deadbeat.
Yeah, like her humor is like very like no emotions. Like what? Why?
Yeah. I've seen a couple things of that in she like interviews them on a bed or something. So
with Drake, she was like in a bed.
Okay.
She's such a married with kids.
She's married with kids?
Yeah, she looks so young also. I thought she was like 16 years old. She's like 30, I think.
Whoa. Like, tell me your skincare routine.
Literally, tells her secret. And then, she just like interviewing these huge people. So she just went on BFFs, which is like a podcast with Dave Portnoy and other people. Mm-hmm. And they were like, so that in that interview, she didn't have her character on. So she like is actually a very sweet, like a normal person.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
love that.
She was just saying how like in the beginning, she first did TikToks. And then in the beginning, she would just like pay people to come on her podcast. And like then when people were like, get Drake on or something. I'm forgetting the full story, but she like literally just DM'd. Oh, Drake started following her on TikTok. So then she just DM'd him like, hey, would you come on my podcast? And he's like, sure. But like Dave Portnoy was saying how like one of the Barstool podcasts got like Drake on, and it was like a nightmare to get him on. And the fact that like she just had such an easy process. I mean, like some people just get like this luck that's insane.
Right.
It's crazy. I was like,
Drake was just in the mood, or like he liked
just like
her
liked
vibe,
it.
and
Yeah,
that was it.
It is something different though. Like she is giving like something different that like most podcasts don't do.
Oh yeah, she's not really giving anything, to be honest. It is
a type of humor. Yeah, like
I'm saying in terms of information, it's not like, oh, we're having Drake on and we're going into his childhood, and racking his brain. It's like no. It's unique.
Yeah, she said she doesn't do any research on these people. Like she does like minimal research just to like have a few questions, but like she wants it to be like as like wait what like as like she wants to know basically nothing.
As authentic in the moment as it can be. Love that.
And she said like also like the people who she has like lined up next. It was so funny. She was saying like literally next thing you know, like after she did the interview with Drake, next thing you know, she had like 15 people on her team. Like she didn't know how it happened. Like suddenly somebody signed her and now she's like a publicist and like
she's a manager and like she's like, what's going on?
Like you know those people who like everyone who's like big, like everyone who we think of, like they're the talent. So they're like the personality of it all, but they have like 30 people on their team that are just like running behind the scenes. It's so weird to think about.
It is, but also sometimes not. That there's this very large, illustrious team sometimes, and like really successful people are sometimes very, like I know for film, not necessarily the larger production you have, the better your film is going to turn out. Probably like the opposite, actually.
You're saying in terms of like the amount of writers?
In terms of the amount of people that are working on one thing.
Right.
Sometimes just a couple people with a right synergy, it's all you need.
Yeah. But most like, people have a lot.
With us, if we got one more person.
just a producer.
One more, just someone to do everything for us. Thank you.
That's all we need. I actually reached out to the comedian again. This comedian guy who he's like from, and he does it in California. He wanted to come on, like, but that was like by Pesach time. That was like when he was in Crown Heights.
Yeah.
And we swore off like remote interviews.
With way too many technical difficulties.
Oh my God, the stress. So I messaged him like if he's ever in town, that'd be cool to interview him.
That would be.
But yeah, it's just pretty cool about that girl. Like I just think it's
it reminds me of this other girl that does like these interesting, awkward, offbeat interviews.
Yeah.
She does it in like a diner or something.
Oh yeah, chicken shop date.
Yeah.
It's also kind of like Between Two Ferns.
Exactly. It's got that Zach Galifianakis vibe. She's so great. She should
interview Zach.
I'm sure she did. Oh my God.
No, not chicken shop date. I'm saying Bobby. Like she should.
Oh, do Zach?
That would be so interesting to see them both just like deadbeat. Like
yeah. Like
anyways.
Who's gonna deadbeat off? Who's gonna like win the deadbeat? Off. I don't. Yeah,
it's gonna win the deadbeat off.
Who's gonna win the deadbeat off? You know,
that's who'll be better at
say
it.
That again.
Yeah, I don't
know. Awkward. Didn't flow well.
How was your week?
My week was really good actually. So it's the week past the craziest week of my life.
Right. Why was it the craziest week of your life?
Okay, let me recap for you, even though you've heard it. Thanks for bearing with me again.
I want to hear it again.
It was the craziest week of my life because I finished directing a movie that I wrote.
Which is so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it's with a fellowship that I'm a part of. They had like 4 tracks, and one of the tracks I applied for, they liked my story. I got in. They liked my screenplay so much that they asked me to direct it as well instead of passing it off to the other directing track in the fellowship. So it was a long time coming because I've been working on that script and being in pre-production for like months and months. And then all of a sudden we just like shot it in 4 days. It was the most hectic 4 days I think I've ever experienced because your life still continues with these 4 days, but like nothing, like you're in a vice of just this. So you're waking up, going to sleep, and you feel like you're just in this.
It probably felt like a month for you.
It felt like a very long time. Yeah. But it also felt incredibly short.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, the whole idea of like time is relative. That's where I think about that. Like you probably had maybe the days went by quicker or longer for you.
That's what I'm saying. Time was literally relative for me because it was like quick and short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like somebody else could be going through like the longest days of their lives because they're unemployed and doing nothing. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy how time is so relative, like the experience
to
of
your
time.
Experience for sure.
Crazy.
Interstellar really breaks into that.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh my God, we have to watch it. It's so good. Did you watch more Love Island?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good.
We're watching it together. Love Island USA. Should we recap what we think of it?
Good show. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Victor.
The first time out. Victor. What episode are we up to? Like 3?
Like season, yeah. Like episode 3, I mean.
Yeah, so we're pretty early on. Even
What's
though
his name, Bobby? Bergie?
Oh, Bergie. Oh my God, Bergie. Okay, so this is for anyone who's watching Love Island USA, the new season. Bergie is freaking, he's like this little nerd, and like everyone just like is so nice to him, which is so nice, but also like it goes through like, why is he on the show? Like he's not like on the same level as everyone else there.
And like what?
Well, in looks, first of all.
Well,
but like
I
also
mean, he's attractive.
Yeah, he's not bad, but like also he's like super awkward and he has like very little confidence with the girls. So it's just like very weird to see.
I
but
love
it's
it.
Also it adds this entertainment. I get why they put him on.
And girls like a lot of girls like him.
They like him as a friend though.
I don't know. What's
they're like, we're gonna
what's her
teach
name
you
was interested in him?
I feel like she's not. Like I feel like she's just like saying that. I don't know why I feel like
because you wouldn't be interested in him, but girls could be interested in him.
I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see how it folds out.
Yeah.
But our
that
favorite
would be really great if there's this incredibly beautiful like blonde woman that like everyone is into, and she was like into Bergie. I forget her name. Sam?
Carmen,
I guess. Yeah. And so it would be funny if they ended up together, I think, just because it's unexpected.
Yeah. And then Victor is obviously the favorite.
Victor. Yeah, he's great. He's like the papa of the group.
He's just like so mature and like he has that little accent that just like pulls you in. Yeah, it's funny
because he started like he went after, no one wanted him in the beginning.
Yeah, no one like
and then he paired up with one of the girls, Jasmine, who like did not like him, and then she started liking him again.
The way the video is edited, maybe it's just like edited like that, but like the way they were talking, and she's just like, yeah, like I don't know, like we'll see how our connection goes, whatever. And then like the next sentence out of her mouth, she's like, I feel like we just went really deep, like in conversation. I'm like, you guys didn't talk about anything.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just how they edited it. Like maybe they did go deep.
Yeah.
You never know.
Love Island feels so different from all these other like reality love shows. The people that it feels way more wholesome.
Yeah.
And way more good vibes than like, for instance, Too Hot to Handle. But
there were some seasons where like the girls would get into fights sometimes if they were like pining over one guy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like there were some times where girls wouldn't get along with each other, but it seems like this group that they all like each other.
It does seem like that.
Yeah.
Even though there's some drama between Anna and the one
Cassie. I love Cassie.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got to let go of Leo.
Leo's got to go. Leo's got to go.
Yeah. What do you think about this whole Lizzo thing? Like, what's your take on it?
Oh, wow. That was an interesting segue.
I don't do segues. I just bring it up.
Good.
It's so funny. I've been seeing like so many different opinions on it. Obviously, like most people are just like, this is disturbing. Like how is she like fat shaming people when that's her whole brand to be like empathetic about this? And then like you see the comedians' takes on it. All the comedians who have podcasts, like all their takes are just like, she's fat. She can call people fat if she wants. Like literally, like let her do what she wants. And like, what do these people expect? Like you can't dance when you're fat. Like it's crazy to see the comedians always have like the opposite take of the mainstream. And I don't know if they're doing that just to be different or if like they actually believe that, you know?
Well, I think if they're comedians is because they think differently from most people, which is what makes them funny. So I would say that like they're not just saying that for kicks. Sometimes they probably do. But like then again, I don't know what to really make of the whole Lizzo thing. Because I'm a huge fan of hers. I always have been. In terms of like the body positivity that she spreads and the representation that she embodies.
Right.
But it's also not surprising to me that something like this came out about her. She seems like the type of person, unfortunately, that would be very hard to be around.
She does seem like very abrasive and like just saying things. Saying like her true, because that's her whole thing, like saying like her true mind and like not caring what people think type of thing. So
yeah, it's a very like, the way I almost see it is like it's hard, like the way she approaches loving yourself and seeing yourself. It's not. It's solid. It's too rock hard. You have to allow for some like molding with that message, if that makes sense. Because if not, then you really do think you're the shit no matter what. And you're not. Really are not the shit. Like you're not. And
everyone has things to work on.
Everyone has things to work on. What women need in our society is a message of loving yourself more and accepting yourself and thinking that you're beautiful. And that's why I love what she does. But also because she's grown up in a society, I feel like that like never inculcated that message. She took the so much opposite extreme and makes that message like don't ever go back on thinking like you are the shit, no matter what you look like, you're amazing, no matter what your body type is, no matter how obese you are, that's perfect. It's just too much. Like,
so do you think that there is like, meaning a certain level of weight, or like, we'll call it like healthiness, like that people should be like, yeah, I love myself, but let me also recognize that I need to like make some changes for my health. Like, do you think that that's good? So she's representing like, it's okay to be like 300 pounds, keep on eating what you want to eat. Don't worry about that. But maybe people should get healthy. You know, maybe you should also, I don't know.
Her message is more, I think, love yourself and girl, you're amazing. You're a superstar. Put your hair up and go out and go with your friends and your girls. And I love that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's just being healthy is
also important.
It's a different one.
It's a different one. I agree with that, because I do think a lot of times people who are out there and like they're really overweight and they really there's a reason why, because they really struggle with it. I don't think anyone wants to be that weight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they know that it's unhealthy.
Exactly.
So they can only add a little bit of love to like, and I know, so you're not really getting anywhere when you hate yourself. Like,
no, that's the whole problem. Yeah. I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry.
No. That you can interrupt me. No, that's all I was saying. That like, it's when you approach it from a place where you hate yourself, that's not either healthy. So,
and that's my fight in this. That's my game in this fight, or whatever it's called. It's just the counter cult, like the anti-culture that like pushes back on like fat phobia and like, like we're just telling people to be healthy. It's like the message is so dishonest, and the people who like preach that usually, which are like hardcore conservative Republican Ben Shapiro types, I'm sorry, their messages are so devoid of like self-love and like actually approaching this issue with like a holistic mindset of what actually is going on here and how does this woman feel about her body, and do you actually care about my health, or are you just trying to like be anti-culture and cool?
He definitely doesn't care about people's health, like, you know what I'm saying? Just like he shouldn't care about like their weight either. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still tricky because in a time where like in America we have like so many people who are overweight dying from obesity, stuff like that, heart disease, like
obesity related.
It is something that people should still be aware about. Like people are like, no, like, you know, that's just a society. Like I heard someone say before, like it's just a societal thing that like that people die from being obese. Like that's not a real thing. It's like it is. If you're obese, you're gonna have more health complications.
Yeah.
So. But just be truthful about what's going on, and also love yourself, because you're going through a lot of struggles. You have no idea what in your childhood is causing you to like eat unhealthy or binge eat or whatever the issue is.
Exactly. Such a good point. Such a good point. Like that's the route you need to. You can
acknowledge that there's an issue, but also love yourself at the same time.
I think you're totally right about that. But also, let's say in society, you have to fight for something, right? I guess you might have to prioritize what needs to be prioritized, or like preach certain messages. Because if not, if you're trying to approach things with saying everything, you're getting nowhere. And we're very nuanced in our perspective.
I disagree with that.
We're very nuanced, and we try to give credit to everything. Yeah. And I think that's amazing. I think that's also healing in and of itself. And I think people can hold a lot, especially our generation, because we're so aware and we can hold so many things at the same time. But like in what's important to me right now is like inculcating that message of self-love and self-acceptance, and trying to look at yourself with a kinder eye. Specifically for women, this message doesn't go much the same for men. I feel like it's a little bit different. And not this message of like health and you're fat and you're not enough, like you can change, right. You should be better, like the stereotypical like personal trainer who's just like, do it again, you suck, you suck. Like, is that actually motivating? Maybe for men it is. Men, I think, for men, but what I'm trying to say is like, if there's a fight here, like if there's something that we should be prioritizing, it's that message. So it's not even on the same plane. Like it's not an equal fight for me. It's like people think, oh, I have a good response to this because I can just say you're getting too fat and it's not healthy and it's not whatever. When it's like, you're saying it's two separate messages. You couldn't. Well, I guess so. Yeah. Like, but I mean, you're saying that you have to choose one. No, you're saying that's not. You can't have both messages. I think that what I'm trying to say is like,
I think that it's two separate messages and we can blend the two. I mean, that's literally the name of our podcast, Between Two Worlds. We always come down to balance. Like it's a balance of the two.
But I'm saying if I had to err on one side, it would be on the side of
loving
like
yourself.
What kind of Lizzo does.
Yeah. But I don't think you have to err on one side. And like, I do think if Lizzo didn't take this moral high ground, she wouldn't be in so much trouble. Like, I do think that's where people get in a lot of trouble when I'm representative of this thing. When if she just like did, she sings obviously awesome. She has incredible songs. So like if she just like showed representation of somebody who's bigger in the music industry, when all we see is like people who are super fit and like, in the traditional sense, like gorgeous and all that stuff. Like she's just representing that by just doing what she does, being her size. I don't think she has to preach this message. She could do like, but she definitely went overboard on it. So she's supposed to be this like representation of it. And then she goes and calls someone fat. She literally fat shames, and it's like, like your entire identity that you built around is like,
right. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I hear that, but I also think it's incredibly healing to talk about and spread messages that are counter to what we've been hearing and subconsciously subsuming into our identities.
Well, I think that we're
saying it and being hard, like it makes sense that she came out of what our culture was before. Like it makes sense that she's that way, if that makes sense. It makes sense that she's very hard on this and you know what I mean? And is constantly saying it.
But it's her brand. Maybe this is where we disagree. I do think that like sometimes like in the sense of like actions speak louder than words, that I do think that like just showing that, just being representing those type of people in the space is, I think, stronger than preaching it and taking the moral high ground. That already makes you a little bit like cheesy, and like I do think it gives you less credit versus like just being like, the most confident person is like,
you should be both. Definitely, I think you're right about the just being it. That's the first thing you should be.
I think it's stronger
which
than
is
preaching
not
it.
with Lizzo, right? That's not the case with Lizzo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which is why it's so ironic.
Like, it's like kind of like the confident person doesn't have to say they're confident. They just are confident. And I'm just giving an example, but like with this is like, just represent those people in those space. I think by saying it dilutes her message a little bit.
No, so I disagree. I think not at all, actually. We all feel authenticity. So I think it's very important to embody the things that you're preaching if you're preaching something. But preaching matters. Saying things and transferring your wisdom, like what we do, let's say on this podcast, or what good educators have done for us, or inspiration, people who have inspired us do. It's important because it literally transfers what you are and what you know to people who might be struggling with those same things in a different space. And that really deeply matters to me, that there are girls that hear Lizzo's message and love themselves more, look in the mirror and say, I could be anything I want if I want. Hell yeah, I could be a pop star. And that's from her being the way she is and saying what she says. I think they're one and the same a little bit. But it's ironic because you're also really right about the fact that it might not be really embodied if she's going around and fat shaming.
Yeah, I mean, that just like discredits her whole thing for sure. It's I was listening to a podcast, somebody who works like in the industry, and she was saying like, you'd be so surprised how many people are behind the scenes just like not who they say they are. Like and that's why I don't look up to celebrities, don't look to them like they're gods, because they're just people, and yeah, they need to have a certain type of, they need to create a certain brand for themselves for people to like them and like be like, yeah, she inspired me to do this and that. But like everyone's flawed, and that's why like comedians or like
it's just
people who do podcasts, like there's a real authenticity to them because they're never claiming to be perfect, And then like you always hear of the people who are like, they seem like a very like mean up front, but like behind the scenes, everyone says how incredible of a person they are,
Sure.
I feel like that happens a lot. Not all the time, but
comedians are the opposite. Comedians are always talking about what shitbags they are and what. Like,
and then like people say how nice they are behind.
Are you thinking of one comedian specific? Mark Normand. No, you heard Mark Normand. I heard that Mark Normand is a good guy, but I don't know where I heard that from.
I mean, Joe Rogan.
Everyone
talks about how incredible Joe Rogan is. And it's not like on camera he looks like the nicest guy ever. He's pretty like upfront about things, blunt and stuff.
Yeah, I want to say he's like as nice as like. I would say he's nice actually,
but like behind,
he's just not a pushover at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
For sure. He seems like he would be the exact same on his podcast outside of his podcast.
Yes, which is what I strive to do, to just be like the exact same.
Totally,
you can have a conversation.
You totally are.
Okay, good.
I feel like we are.
Yeah. We're doing great.
We're doing so good. Where's our third person in the background that has to be like, you guys are doing amazing?
we need a producer, and we just need like a hype woman.
Oh yeah.
And then like
I was thinking our producer could be the hype woman.
Oh, both. Okay, fine. Yeah. We don't have to pay two people.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. We're paying our producer.
If anyone wants to do it for free, like,
right?
Why not?
You make money.
Period. What else is happening in the news right now?
So, did you hear about the submarine?
Submarine. We already spoke about that.
I just wanted to pull that back up for a second.
Why?
Oh, well, first of all, I went to a comedy show and the comedian was talking about the submarine thing, but also he's like, that was crazy. They went on that he was literally just saying everything everyone else was saying, but it was just funnier.
There's definitely something that good comedians have, which I was watching Tom Segura's special, and like not everything he was saying was that funny, but people were laughing at everything. And maybe just like
once you get it, once you roll it, you are good to
I guess
go.
Like once you reach a certain level, people would just laugh at anything you say.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you like gain that approval from people, public approval, and then you're just like, okay, we accept you.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, my son's crazy. And then everyone's like laughing. And it's like, if a different guy said that, like it wouldn't.
That was his joke. My son is crazy.
He was talking about his kids and how like crazy they are, and like they're two boys, so like how that's different from like girls. So like, but like he was leading up to his like punchline, but like part of it was just like, my son does crazy things, and then like people are laughing. It's like it's not the joke, but like people are laughing at everything he said, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I also like I'm watching Kill Tony.
Makes everything funnier.
Yeah.
I'm sure those people in those special crowds, they're like handing out free shots.
Yeah. No, I'm watching like, did you ever check out Kill Tony? Like,
I haven't checked it out yet, but
So I've been watching it a lot, and like, yeah, it's crazy that like these new comedians, like, like just sometimes the timing just makes everyone laugh. The way you pause and then say something.
Oh
like,
yeah,
pretty,
it's everything.
Like, it's just like, yeah,
it's an art. It's an art. It really is.
But I just feel so bad for those people who come on there and do bad. It's just they get roasted like crazy. People
really who it's so it's almost like unredeemable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like of course it is redeemable.
It's like you think you could do comedy when you're this bad? He just like he almost gets offended when people do bad, and like it's really cool to see some people just take it on the chin and laugh at themselves and like be able to take it, but like. Yeah, I don't know how you would feel about that because he's really mean.
I would.
They know what they're signing up for.
If they're roasting, it's a roast. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh my God, how dare he?
No, he says mean stuff. Mean stuff.
Oh, like he like makes fun of their body and stuff.
Yeah, that's like the number one thing.
Oh my God, I would cry. I would run away. It's just like I can't. The state of being when you bombed. Must feel you just like approximating hell. Like actually, I felt something like that in like camp. I one time went up and I had like a solo. Yeah. And I completely blanked on the solo. Like into like full 5 seconds of just me open mouth, like, oh my God, fish.
And everyone just like silent. And, like,
no, people started like giggling.
Oh,
dude, it really is like top 5 worst moments of my life.
That's really traumatic.
It was so traumatic. And then like the choir instructor like passed me a piece of paper so I could remember my solo, and then I sang it off the paper and I was
like
done.
The paper's like shaking.
I'm like shaking. Rabbits in ass. I had like 5 freaking lines. Like what?
Like 5 words to say.
I had like 5 words. It was literally just, oh yeah. What did I forget that for? Afterwards, I went off that stage and I was marked. I was the scarlet letter, like scarlet woman. Like
you feel like people
nobody wanted me to be in their bunk anymore.
Like it's crazy that people forget about that in 2 seconds. Like I'm sure nobody remembers that, but you know,
was like you had a solo. Like you know what I mean? What? For sure.
Like I remember, this is totally different story, but similar in a way. But anyways, when we were watching Oppenheimer, the second time I went, I went to the bathroom and like I literally felt like everyone was staring at me. And then when I came back, I was like trying to duck and like get into my thing, and everyone's like moving their feet to let me go through. And I literally knocked my knee in this guy's bald head. He was sitting in front.
In a guy's bald head. In his head? How did you do that?
I knocked my knee onto his head.
Just like, ow.
Okay, so
why were like a jungle gym? Why were your legs up that high? Why was his head down low like that? Like
he was okay. I was on row J. He was on row. What comes before J?
H.
H-I-J.
I.
So he was on row I, and
okay.
like his seat was like on this. There was like 5 seats and then like a little railing. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Okay,
like
you explained it.
Like I don't know if it makes sense. Like a little railing. So he was like, his head was a little bit peeking out of his like seat. You know what I'm saying? Mm. It wasn't like completely like covered by his seat.
You knocked Joe Rogan, my friend.
Yeah.
You heard him.
It was probably him. So I was walking back to my seat, and somehow my knee just like banged into his bald head. And for some reason, a bald head just seems like more hard. Like if it was hair,
sturdier.
like you know,
right.
He just turned around and I was like, I'm so sorry. And he was just like, he got so annoyed. And then later, Mushki was sitting next to me.
I thought you like concussed him or something.
No, he was fine. Like he watched the rest of the movie. I think.
You have no idea.
I should have checked up with him after.
Yeah.
And then Mushki was sitting next to me. So he thought Mushki was me. He was sitting in front, so he didn't see any of our faces. And then like Mushki was like leaning her foot on the railing and he like pushed it away.
Oof.
Yeah. So he was pissed.
Mad.
Yeah. But the point of that story was that I literally thought everyone was like staring at me when I was going to the bathroom and coming back. But like I told my sister after, she was like, no, like nobody cared. Like everyone's just watching the movie.
Yeah,
like,
it does feel that way in like a theater when you're going up to the bathroom. That everybody's like staring at you. Let's talk about the Cardi B mishap.
That was crazy because like at first people were like all saying that like, oh, you know, the girl deserved it.
Well, what happened?
Well, so Cardi B, there's a video that went around of Cardi B throwing a mic at somebody after like she throwing water on her. And then it came out later.
A girl in the audience threw like a cup of water at her.
And then it came out later that like Cardi B was like saying to people to splash her with water, but like anywhere but her face. And then.
Okay, precision. Like how you're supposed to.
Let me just aim this like really.
Yeah. Like 5 rows.
But also like if I was in the crowd, I would just never like throw water at the.
Also, yeah, that's a very weird request. Maybe it's because she's really hot. And so she needs to be cooled down.
Maybe.
I do remember that she looked fire.
Yeah, that outfit was good.
She looked good.
But then she
threw a mic.
Then she threw a mic at the girl.
Which hit somebody else.
Which hit the wrong person.
Yes. And that a mic isn't something you want to have thrown at you.
Yeah, so
that's hard.
This is the thing. Like obviously with like all these, there's so many stories that came out of people like throwing things on stage. And like the problem is that they get so much attention for it that it's like, why would people stop? You know what I'm saying? They can, you know, like it goes all over the news, and I get why it does, but like did you hear about like somebody like throwing their mom's ashes on with Pink?
What?
Yeah, because she's like, Pink was her mom's favorite artist, and she died.
Oh,
it was in a Ziploc bag.
It was in a bag?
I think so.
What did Pink do?
She was like, that's weird. She like picked it up and she's like, that's strange, or something like that.
Oh, she's awesome.
She didn't but like obviously the news went all over about it. And then the guy who threw the phone at Baby Rexha, all these things were, you didn't hear about these things?
I haven't heard about this, no.
I think it started with Baby Rexha. Somebody threw a phone at her and it hit her head and she had to go to the hospital. Yeah.
The hell? Stop throwing things on stage. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then
next thing you know, we're not gonna be able to bring things into concerts.
Yeah, they're gonna take away our phones.
They're gonna take away
all because
your
of
phones.
That guy.
You know what? Maybe that's actually a good trend. We can have
they do
our
that at
phones
comedy shows, no?
taken away. We have it once a week, right? Because of Shabbos.
Yeah,
and that's amazing. I feel like society can use that.
True.
You know, especially
we should just make a law like Shabbos. Everyone's off their phones. Imagine everyone kept Shabbos.
We really should not do that.
Imagine everyone, like, you know, when you go to Israel, certain like cities where like everyone's religious, which is like a lot of places, like the city just has this a real feel of Shabbos because there's no cars in the streets. Everyone's like going to shul. Everyone's like off their phones. Like it's crazy. Like I wish that happened like in Crown Heights. It's no cars around. Like there was one.
There is a heavy Shabbos feel here, I would say.
Yeah, here more than other places. Like I'm in the city on Shabbos usually, so that's definitely there's no feel.
It feels
like there's no feel
even more popping on the weekend.
Saturday night or Friday night. There's tons of people out partying. But there was one place that I went to where like literally kids were playing in the street because there's no cars.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's such a beautiful thing. I feel like everyone should just try it for one day. Like this Saturday, just turn off your phone for a whole day.
Yeah. If you're
do
not
nothing but
religious,
eat and sleep.
if you can, or just, it's more like the idea of just taking a break from your phone and being plugged in to things.
Yes. And like spending time with family.
Connection.
I think it's the best thing ever. Like, especially nowadays where like, I'm for sure addicted to my phone.
Privilege though. Not everyone likes their family.
Yeah, but maybe if like they had Shabbos.
Maybe if you can, disconnected from your phone, you would realize you actually do like your
like
family.
You can connect in certain things. Obviously, like some families are messed up in other ways that you can't control. But I'm saying, I'm sure there's a lot of families that struggle with like having a dinner together because no one could get off their phones. Did you see that thing that came out with like Shaq's kids talking about Shabbos?
I'm gonna always assume that like I haven't.
You haven't seen it?
Just go ahead and say it.
There's this clip where he's just like, where like the kids are. I guess he had a show with his kids. They have a reality show. I'm not really sure.
Shaquille O'Neal.
I think so. Yeah.
Like the huge guy who plays sports,
who plays basketball. Who used to play basketball. I don't think he plays anymore. I'm gonna try to find the video.
Okay,
take a minute. But
the whole Shabbos thing really reminds me. It doesn't remind me, but it enforces this idea that the more I live and the more I understand about myself and just like anxiety and how much we've got going on and how smart we've all become because of how aware we've all been. Like if you've ever seen the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I actually never watched it.
And that's after Interstellar.
Okay.
Or before Interstellar even.
Oh.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think perfectly articulates so many of our, and when I say our, I mean like Gen Z and probably a lot of millennials too, like internal experience of life. And so it's just a very chaotic movie with like an understanding that there's just so many options and therefore you just become so nihilistic because all meaning kind of basically decays and collapses. And so when you even live in that paradigm, that's like obviously a dark place. But what I'm trying to say is when you live in a paradigm where there's just so much going on all the time, literally unplugging and just like going outside and trying to just be wherever you are, it's incredibly healing.
Yeah.
And it just matters for your sanity. And it makes you feel like better.
You just have to be, but it's crazy that you have to be forced to do it.
Yeah.
To actually get it done.
Because we're so advanced in so many ways, but we're so monkey-like in other ways. And like we've got these incredible billion-dollar industry companies trying to force us to keep us on the devices that that's how they're built. So they would get addicted. So you have to force yourself.
You have to force yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible for people to do it unless there's like a religious component to it, or like, you know what I'm saying? Or like someone literally stealing their phone and they're not having their phone.
Yeah.
It's people have to force themselves. Anyways, here's the video. I'll put it in the video.
Okay.
Post editing.
Shabbat dinner. What is a Shabbat dinner? What Jewish people do every
Friday?
Every Friday. And
we go to this Shabbat at his friend's house. It's pretty fun. It's like equivalent to a cookout, but for Jewish people. And like the whole family comes, they have fun, they drink, they just turn up.
Yeah, Shabbat is great. It's pretty lit.
Like everybody's eating together. They eat at a table.
Thing.
Now, if you're over the age of 13, you can drink.
No. Well, that's not happening here. But you definitely, I like the sit down at the table part. It makes the family come together every week. I know nothing about this Shabbat tradition, but I hear family, I hear eating.
That was pretty cool. It went.
That's
everywhere.
So interesting.
Yeah, and then she the mom goes to like a Jewish grocery store. I wonder where it is. Probably in LA somewhere. And like she's just like mizanot. Like she's trying to buy challah. And she's
so
like
funny.
trying to pronounce things. It was really funny.
Oh.
But thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.